Today we're going to do some recording with the Tascam 244. I've made loads and loads of videos about repairing this. I've done a review of this, but haven't done one where I'm demonstrating how to record with it. I mean, I suppose I went into that a bit in the review video, but today I'm going to record a song, playing drums, keys, guitar and vocals all myself. So you've got a real world example of how all the things I was talking about in the review video are applied during a session where one person is recording themselves, or one guy in a band is responsible for the recording. I'm going to be starting off with the drums. I'll show you where the microphones are in a minute. One thing to understand about the 244 before I show you that is that the way that it's set up, you can either record one channel, two channels, or four channels at a time. You can't record three. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have it in 4-channel recording mode, and I'm going to have input coming from these 3 microphones. That's into channels 2, 3 and 4 of the mixer. And I hope you can see here that the leftmost channel, that's channel 1, is set into the middle position in this 3-way switch at the top, so that's off. So if there was any information on track 1 of this cassette, I would be writing over that. Basically what's going to happen is the erase head is going to send its high frequency sine wave that your speakers can't reproduce. It'll be filtered out on the way back, which is going to agitate all the little metallic crystals on the tape that holds the signal. So that would erase anything that was on there. But then when it gets to the record head isn't introducing anything new because there won't be any signal coming in through that channel. Whereas these 3 will be getting a signal. And I've got a room mic here, snare mic here, kick drum mic here. The way that this is set up, I can just about see these meters from when I'm sitting at the kit, so I can see where the needles are going. It's possible to bypass DBX on this model. I did a video about that recently. I've got DBX on at the moment. If you've got DBX off, it can sound really nice on 4 tracks to just kind of push the tape into the red, really saturated on percussion instruments like a drum kit. DBX, you can get some weird sort of like pumping artifacts because of the compressor expander that makes up the DBX noise reduction. So for that reason, I've been trying to keep the needles so they're not really going too far above 0. And the intention here is that these 3 channels, later on I'm going to ping-pong bounce all 3 of them down to one monaural drum track, which is on track 1, and then I can record over the original material with guitar, keys, vocals. About the connect here, the inputs on this are unbalanced, so they're expecting 1/4-inch jacks like that, just the 2 areas. That's TS or tip sleeve. Actually though, you can put in tip ring sleeve. You see they've got a 3rd area, that would be extra shielding, phase cancellation type of thing that you get on balanced cables. If you're using a standard mic cable like this, where it's like female and male XLRs at the 2 ends, you can buy one of these adapters. It's female XLR to tip ring sleeve TRS. That will work fine. But you do also get these kinds of cables, and there is shielding in the cable, but the shielding isn't connected to the 3rd area. It's just a TS and 1/4-inch jack at the end. Especially because I'm going to be using DBX noise reduction, I don't think it really matters that you might have a little bit more hiss or buzz or whatever on your cables. I mean, balanced cables I guess are more essential if you've got fluorescent lighting and or like more electrical interference in the area where you're recording, but I'm in a rural area and there's not really much of that floating around. There's no phantom power on this, so the one microphone that I've got that's using phantom power, this pressure zone microphone, you can see that's a mini XLR socket that it's got in it. So I'm just using this battery powered module. That's the microphone, and then I can use an XLR cable from there into here, and yeah, it'll work fine with this. Show you where the microphones are. I've got two close microphones that aren't very close. If I had loads of microphones, I might have them a bit closer than this, but I'm erring on having them a bit further back, so they're picking up a bit of ambience as well. So this is what I've got on the kick drum. You can see earlier on I was experimenting with this inexpensive copy of AKG D112. I had it in, I had it a bit further out, and I didn't really like the results I was getting. It was a bit too boomy on its own, whereas this largish diaphragm dynamic mic, you know, it's picking up enough of the low end from the kick drum, but it's not exaggerating it, it's blending in with the other two microphones okay to give an overall picture. And then I've got this another kind of cheap dynamic mic. If I come round here, you know, if that was a spot only mic, maybe I'd have it a bit closer. Where it is, it's picking up, you know, quite a bit of the floor tom, the rack tom, hats, a little bit of ambience from the cymbals as well. And then I've got all of that blended in with pressure zone mic. For a while I've been having these pressure zone mics up here on the walls and it's been fine, but today for some reason, I don't know if I'm just playing this song louder or something, but they're breaking up a bit, and so I've experimented with a few different positions for this, and this far away both gets round the problem where it's breaking up a bit, and it also sounds pretty good. It sounds quite ambient. I mean, my room's fairly dead because I've got all this. Well, it's not dead, but you know, there's not like a reverb in the room exactly. It's a relatively dead room. Anyway, so those are the three signals. I might do a few takes. I'm not a great drummer. I mean, I'm not an amazing guitarist and keyboard player either, but I'm definitely a better keyboard player and guitarist than I am a drummer. So what I might do is just like fill the tape with takes and then pick the best one. And then I'll do the bouncing of the section of the tape with the performance that I like best. I'm through in the workshop now, just convenient table space. I'm ready to bounce the drums from these three channels down to this one. As it turned out, I did 3 takes and the third one had the best feel, so you can see I'm quite a fair way through this TDK CDing too. What you can see back here is that I'm using the send-receive inserts for the channels. And I've got 3 different guitar pedals linked up to the 3 different channels. So this one here, that's for the room mic. This one here, that's for the snare drum mic, and this one here is for the kick drum mic. So get this to a point where we can hear something happening. So there's the room mic. And that's going through a compressor. The attack on it's very slow, and the threshold's low, so most of the peaks are getting through unmolested, but a lot of the body of the sound and the sustain is being emphasised. There's also a little bit of reverb on there that sort of blends with the room sound. Here we've got the snare sound. The attack on this is faster, the threshold is higher, the ratio of compression is higher. It doesn't actually say how many decibels per octave it is on these pedals, which is kind of good in a way because you have to use your ears to figure out what's going on. But really that's catching the peaks and making it go a bit more thwack. And then that's the kick drum mic. I've just got this kind of 2-knob compressor pedal on the line 6 inline stomp modeler. If I bring up a blend, see that because I've got it in sync mode, track 1 is set to record. So I'll just turn it down a bit more so you can definitely hear my voice. So if I set everything to tape, what that means is the signal, unprocessed signal from the cassette, is coming up to these switches. After these switches, it's going through these effects pedals, and then it's coming through the channel faders, I should say, and then I'm panning them all hard left. That way, when I set this one to tape, that's channel 1, and I set it to record here, then what's going to be recorded on track 1 of the cassette is all 3 of these channels coming from these 3 tracks into this channel. Now, this is going to get loud, but if I put this up, watch this meter. You see how I've got it set so it's not going above 0. I don't really want to add too much tape compression here. I've got as much compression as I want from here, and as I was saying earlier, sometimes when you've got DBX on, funny things start to happen. So even the loudest peak there, just coming into the just above 0. Anyway, you get the idea. So I will bounce that, meaning a blend of all 3 of those channels will be on this one channel, leaving me free to overwrite these 3 channels with keyboard, guitar and vocals. I've just done the bounce. I think it seems to sound okay. It's always going to sound a little bit more degraded and compressed after the bounce, but I like that for drums, or at least for my style of music. You can see that's all in that fader now. I can pan it. I mean, obviously these meters are moving because they're still responding to these even though they're turned off. But you can see actually that's the only channel now. Got monaural blend